So one of the, I'm gonna bring it up again, even though we're not recording yet. Technically, we are. It's in here. I can put it in if I want. I can do whatever I want. I'm a grown man. There was another Doug Benson game because that's all I listened to on my trips to and from San Diego was Doug Loves Movies. It's another Doug Benson game of John Wicker Man. You heard that one?
Yeah.
I gotta come up with. I'm doing it. I'm gonna come up with a game for you and our guests next week for
Let's
this.
do it. I like games.
We're gonna have fun with some games. But John Wicker Man was great. Lots of things like that. I think he also did a Renfield or Vampire's Kiss or neither game as well, because they're both him as a vampire. Are they both him as Dracula?
What?
Is Nick Cage Dracula in Vampire's Kiss?
No. Have you seen Vampire's Kiss?
I don't think so. I would say no.
Okay, it's a fantastic bad movie. It's like maybe it might be my favorite bad movie.
Really?
Nick Cage basically has a breakdown and thinks he's turning into a vampire. Okay. Is he not? Watch the movie, find out. But he's in therapy and he's just losing his shit as only Nick Cage can. Oh my God, he uses a couch as a casket. It's so funny.
Okay, I think I do need to see it then. Because that's a completely different, well, not that different, but pretty different from Renfield. Have
you seen what's that movie? Moonstruck.
Yeah, a long time ago.
He's got a wooden hand for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that movie's chaotic.
I've also seen Wicker Man, which is also a movie that is just batshit crazy.
Is that the Bees?
Yeah, it's the Bees.
I've not seen that, but I know the Bees.
It was, bees held over, or bees on his head, all contained in a wicker basket.
Oh, hence the man.
Hence the man. But John Wicker Man was a good one because pretty much if you ever listen to Doug Loves Movies and you listen to his antics on just keeping a theme, and how he'll just have the same answer for everything, he did all the voices for John Wicker Man in his Nick Cage impression, which is pretty good, by the way. So you pretty much knew all the answers were Wicker Man, not John Wick. But I think he just likes the titles that he comes up with for his games, and he just goes with that. Yeah, actually, that was one. Yeah.
That's been my favorite part about revisiting the old ones is all his like stupid names for the Leonard Maltin game categories are just so much fun.
Yeah.
Like if he just came on as like, all right, here's 3 categories I would have played Leonard Maltin. We're not going to play the game though because he's tired of it. I'm like, all right, cool. We had a good time.
Yeah, I think he legitimately just has a good time coming up with names for things.
60-second code.
I did it too early.
Welcome to the 60-second car, the podcast that covers the entire franchise that is The Fast and the Furious. We're here still in minute 16, 15, 17, minute 17 of
That's the one.
The original The Fast and the Furious, which we already know is just a fraud. It's not the original. You know the whole story. You've seen the whole movie by now of the original The Fast and the Furious, but this is the original according to Vin Diesel and the family. We are starting into some of the more important pieces of this movie. I think we're well past the introductions. We're well past the raising of what is happening, and we're not really in a climax, but we're in our first major kind of action here of this movie, where we're introing to, I said we're out of intros, but we're introing into our first car race. It's not our first driving, but it's our first car race.
I feel like this point is when this movie is what it says it is. Like
Yes.
we've had a heist, we've had a fight over tuna, and we've had
It's been pretty furious, especially that fight over the tuna.
Yes, that was pretty angry. And we've had some dude who's really into NOS trying not to get fired or whatever. But this is like what I think the movie is, which is street racing.
Yes.
Or what I thought the movie was when it came out.
Yes. and the sort of on the edge of legal, not legal, very much illegal, but probably not many people are going to jail. In fact, I'm gonna jump right into the screenshots here because the first screen we have is the kind of beautiful artsy shot of our radar detector.
Yeah, look at that depth of field. It's
pretty
just
good.
perfectly. Yeah.
It is the patrolman, one word, patrolman, scanning receiver. And I guess it's only got 10 channels. I think that's what that means. But as these things do, they scan across all 10 channels until they pick something up on the CB radio or the frequencies that they would, I guess, believe that the police would be using. From what I understand, at this point in time, this is probably not easy to get a hold of. I know like they got pretty easy to get a hold of throughout the 2000s of like radar scanners and stuff like that. In fact, not to bring up Seinfeld again, but there's a whole not a whole episode, but there's a whole scene of Kramer and Newman selling each other things or trading things. One of them happens to be a radar detector that doesn't work, and the other one is a helmet that is pretty much worthless, and that's their whole thing. But this one seems like a nice one. So do you think, the question is, do you think this was part of the pile of goods that they may or may not have stolen from the back of these trucks? The reason I'm asking, is this a first hint into maybe we know who the people in the Civics are?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm like, I don't think it's a product of the heist. I think it's something that assisted with the heist. Because again, in that heist, there was no cops, but
Right.
all those things they stole were Panasonic. I have a question that you may not know the answer to.
Okay.
Are these things illegal? Because I Googled this exact model and I'm finding versions of it, but they all say realistic on like eBay, which makes me think they're not supposed to be real. But why would so many people buy, quote, realistic police scanners? Is that just like what they're putting in front to be like, oh, these aren't real, wink wink?
So I think this was this was actually a big point of conversation between a lot of people back in the early 2000s, and I think maybe throughout the 90s too. It might have gone back even through the 90s, maybe even the 80s. I'm not sure. I wasn't alive. I don't know. But I do remember a lot of people talking about radar detectors, and for the most part, from what I heard from people talking about them, is they were illegal because it was it was a tool to help you avoid the authorities, right? But then there was like every now and then I would hear somebody say, "Oh no, if you unplug it, it's no longer illegal."
Wow. Okay.
It's one of those, I don't know if this person actually knew a loophole in the legal system or they were just full of shit.
So that reminds me, a few months ago now, I went on a trip to Portugal, and we went up to Porto where port wine is made. And back in the way back, they had all the church shit on one side of the river, and they had all these wineries on the other side of the river to keep them separated, because that way it wasn't a sin or whatever. But everyone would make wine on one side, because then it was like fine and legal, and then they'd put it in boats and take it across the way. That sounds like some just like minute bullshit like that to me. Like if it's unplugged, it's fine. If it's across the water, it's not illegal. It's not a sin.
Very common. Right? That happens all the time. People do. So this is what I say. Katie and I talk about this all the time. The most common thing that I think I sit there and laugh when watching people is how much effort people go through to be lazy or to game the system.
Sure.
Or when they think they're gaming the system. How much effort people go through to do these things is just hilarious to me. It is one of the more entertaining people watching things, because people will do so many different things where they think they're gaming the system. My favorite thing is when people will go back and forth, zoom in and out of lanes or whatever it might be, just to end up at the same stoplight that you end up with or at while you're going just at normal speed. I'm like,
I see it so often. It's crazy.
It's so often. It's crazy. But yeah, it seems like, yeah, that's the same attitude, right? Just a little loophole just to get around the thing. I don't know.
So we don't actually, this the scanner comes into play in a couple minutes in a
Yes.
way I find very interesting. But the fact that we have it, it's scanning right now is I didn't realize that this had already been shown, but you know.
It's very quick. It's very quick.
But this minute starts with them saying "goddamn street racers,"
Goddamn street racers. Yeah.
and then what else do you have screenshot wise? I don't want to get ahead of you.
Oh, sure. I do want to mention that
Please.
I always, and I think most people probably do, but like one of the things I wanted to do in movies for such a long time, especially through college, was be the audio recorder. And I always pick up on when something was ADR'd, meaning, recorded after they actually filmed it. I'm pretty sure the damn Street Racers was very much ADR'd.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I find hilarious because I'm like, does that mean that the director deciding he wants to be in the movie was that like a last minute decision? He was just like, I want to do this, I'm going to do this, and then they just didn't have everything set up, or he wasn't enunciating, so they didn't hear him, and they had to get
maybe.
that ADR'd. I find that hilarious. Anyway, we have Leon, who is almost always looking serious and has this exact face on his face all the time. Mm-hmm. He just always looks like this, right? Am I remembering that incorrectly, or is he just always
I
a
think you're
serious guy?
correct. I think you're correct. This is Johnny Strong. He's got to keep his cool band face because again he's in a band, so we all look this way.
All band people. Mm-hmm. Do you think marching band people look this way?
They look more intense.
Were you marching band?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. Gotcha.
I never did any like school sanctioned music stuff when I was
didn't either.
playing in high school.
I didn't either. Yeah. I think the first time I ever joined anything was when a group of, honestly, not even friends, but like mutual friends, kind of. I don't know. I really didn't have many friends, but this is in middle school. And they knew that I played the guitar at that point. In fact, it's still the same guitar that I have, that Ibanez GT. They knew I had it, and they knew I played a little bit, and they were like, we're going to do a talent show. This is middle school, by the way. I think I said that. We're going to do a talent show, and we need another guitar to play I Wanna Be Your Girl by Jet.
Yeah.
And when because they're like, when we're doing the solo, it sounds wrong because we don't have the background guitar. And I was like, I guess I can play that because it's like 3 chords, and it's just dun 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 dun. Yeah. And so that was like the only time I think I did anything in school. And then the next time I joined anything was in college. Yeah.
I played a Battle of the Bands during one of our like late in year fuck around days when like from lunchtime till 3:00 they just had like events and stuff. Day on the Green, I think we called it, or something like that. But yeah, we had a Battle of the Bands, and it was me, my friend Thomas, and 2 people we knew. And we got to play 4 songs. We played 2 instrumentals that I wrote that were terrible. And then we played a cover of Heaven's a Lie by Lacuna Coil, which, quick plug for Farband Metal. I interviewed Christina from Lacuna Coil, and I got to tell her this and how horribly it went. And it's like a highlight of my life. And then we also covered Spiders by System of a Down. And throughout the entire set, the guitar was going out of tune. It was so bad. And that was the first time I played anything, and for some reason I stuck with it.
Hey, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. The first time I've told the story, I think maybe have I told it on this podcast? I might have actually. The first time I ever really did comedy in front of people, or really had somebody ask me to do comedy, was at a philosophy symposium in front of a crowd who was not ready for comedy. And I did a little bit after that too. So it tends to go wrong at the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, do comedy in front of people who don't want to hear comedy. It's great. It's a great idea. But yeah, like, how did we get here? Because he's in a band?
Yeah, he's serious. Anyway, Leon's looking on. There we go.
Yeah,
Got us back.
I very much lost how we got here. I do love the yellow and with the blue roll cage in here. He's ready he's ready for anything. It feels like this is more maybe indicative to later movies and what they should be equipped with, but I guess it works here. You never know what's going to happen.
I'm going to start rewatching the other ones and wonder if they have roll cages. I feel like they don't.
Yeah, I think some of them do. I think maybe Dom's stuff might, but I think most everybody else's doesn't. Which, I guess makes sense. We talk about, I mean, I think certain characters make certain points when they talk about the fact that, yeah, you may all be family, but anybody that's close to Dom may be in trouble of losing their life. So maybe it's not really that good. Maybe they could just be at home living a normal life. Who knows? But yes, the next scene we have here is everybody pulling up in unison, by the way, which is, I'll tell you, I've not been to many races. This is not what happens. I don't think they all pull up at the same time like this. I think this is just for cool factor.
It's pretty cool, but yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I think people just pull up to the starting line like whenever they're ready, whenever they can.
So them all pulling up at the same time, I'd probably going the same speed, then makes my next note even weirder.
Okay.
Because Brian, being the noob and the fucking cop he is, rolls up to the line and goes past the line like an idiot. So he's going at the same speed as everybody and fucks up.
So yeah, so this is well, they do it in a sequence, right? Which is also weird because that's not what this scene shows. This scene shows that they're all going the same speed, exactly like what you're talking about. And then there's this scene here where Dom pulls up, and then the white car, and then the next red car, and then we have Brian not stopping, even though he just watched 3 cars stop at the same point. Not in unison, but one after another, meaning he had 3 chances to watch where they were stopping, and then pulls right past it, as you just said. Before this happens, though, I wanted to point out, Jesse is just cheering for his life. He is cheering the woo, thumb up, and everything. He's so excited for this race. He's such a good cheerleader.
I wonder if in this world this is like this can't be a rare thing because they have this cool meetup club. So is this just another Saturday? Is this a special race?
I don't know. I
said in
really
the previous episode, it baffles me that all these 100 people rolled into that creepy alley to do a single race. So maybe that's the appeal of this.
So how much time passes in this movie? It's got to be like a month or 2, right?
Well, we have 3 weeks is the only time that's really said out loud, and that's just because we know of sandwiches. But that's not necessarily from the heist.
The movie.
Or is it?
Right? Doesn't he? Isn't that? So that.
That's a line that they say at the cafe.
Right.
But it could. I don't think this. It could be the heist happens, time passes, and that's why Brian's on the scene.
Oh. Well, yeah.
But,
no, I guess the assumption is that heists have been happening for a while, and they're finally bringing somebody in for undercover. So. But however, you could absolutely be right. That could have been the heist, and then all of a sudden, this is happening. I think there's enough context to say that that's not true, but I couldn't say that for certain.
Yeah,
so
it's not definitive, but
yeah.
it's and theory, I guess.
And theory.
So
yep.
But I based on just the time passing shots of the LA skyline, it would make me think it could be anywhere from a month to 3 days.
Right. The reason I'm asking is because we never really see a street race again. Right? This is the only time this happens? Like this? Pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
So if it is rare, I'm sorry, if it is common, they don't show it again. And that's why I was asking, is this a month or 2 months that pass by and they don't do another one of these? I don't know. All I know is Jesse is excited.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Vince is doing more stare downs as Brian drives by. And that's when we get, oh no, we also have Mia and Letty. Letty doing her signature move, just looking like she's gonna punch somebody. And Mia, concerned or confused? I'm not sure.
Mia, she's
there.
So far, that's what she's been in the last 2 scenes.
Yep. And then he rolls past the starting line, and then he backs up, and this is where we get our signature, our iconic, which will be, God, it's got to be in every movie, I think. This,
yep, I think so.
Stare down the windows at each other before the race type thing. It's got to be every movie. I don't believe that it can't be. Jaw rule all the way down to disappointed dad. Vin Diesel, because I think he's shaking his head in this point in the scene. He's like, "Ugh, what
Well, I
have
think he
done?"
just saw him blow past the line.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, I got this." Well, we don't know he's this yet, but we have Buster rolling up and not
Buster.
doing so hot.
This Buster. Brian, are you a Buster?
So I've done this for like a lot of other people that we've encountered in this movie, and I haven't done it for this dude yet. The fourth racer in this race, Danny Yamamoto, played by R.J. DeVera, doesn't have a Wikipedia page. When you Google him, he's known for being a drag racer and this. So there's his
He's a
shout-out.
representative of like a car parts company or something,
Sure.
I think. And maybe that was their favor or something to get in here.
Where does it have his URL in his car?
I don't think so. I think it's just a white car.
Should.
He does a PlayStation ad kind of later in a different.
Oh
different
yeah,
minute.
yeah.
But yeah, we have all the stare down, the iconic first stare down we have throughout the all the windows and stuff like that. They all look over, I think, at Dom one at a time though. So Brian is looking on, we're looking from his perspective kind of. And then he looks at Edwin, who looks at Brian, and then I think he turns to the next person, and then he turns to Dom, and we have this like line of everybody turning their head one at a time. Everybody does everything in a very, very nice sequence. They all park in sequence, they all turn their heads in sequence. You know, they're just, coordinated swimmers. They're just great. They should go to the Olympics doing stuff like this. And then we turn into everybody's cars, and we see this very, very of the times remote control as Dom turns on his big stereo that's in the trunk.
The weight of things in cars, because does he have a sub? Subs aren't light. Seems like a weight on the car, but
those speakers are big. He's got a full box full of stuff.
God, do you remember that time when that was just like people's trunks? Is that still the case anywhere? Can't be, right? I don't think anyone has like CD changers in the trunk anymore, but
I think all the tech is just stock in the car now. I know when I had my first vehicle, my dad's old truck, he upgraded the sound system a little bit, and like I sat on a subwoofer under the seat.
Nice.
And that was like upgraded, but other than that, no, I don't think I've seen that in a while. Then again, like, who knows? I don't live in the area where like a lot of people who care about their cars would really live. Like people just buy, whatever expensive car they can get their hands on for some reason. So I'm like, we don't live in a nice place. I know that you don't have a bunch of cash to be able to buy this. Did you just blow all of your whatever you just got on this car? Because it's ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. I imagine probably not, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the song playing on his system is Lock It Down by Digital Assassins.
Digital Assassins.
Yes.
I feel like somebody ripped that off and made an EDM band at this point in time that has that same name. I feel like it's generic. Is the same thing?
I think this name is somebody I've seen associated with Linkin Park in like a remix capacity. So it's like, it seems familiar, but I can't pull why, and I didn't bother to Google it. So
that could be where my memory is coming from too. I don't know what's happening with this screenshot, but it looks almost like I'm watching a screen. I like screen capped a screen that has a bunch of scratches on it. I don't know what's going on the left-hand side here, but yeah. I think we have a pretty iconic stick shift from Dom as well. I think he tends to use that type of stick shift a lot, but maybe it's just fancy. But are you ready for the intro of probably the most famous name character in this movie?
I'm ready. Are you?
I'm ready.
Monica.
And we go on to Edwin about to force him to feel her up.
Yeah. So Monica, who is she named at this exact moment? Because we discussed in a previous minute when Dom rolls up, there's ADR where he's like, Monica, and they show some other woman who in my head was Monica, but we know this lady in a few minutes is Monica because of Ja Rule. But So right now, don't know who this person is, but she rolls up. Edwin, this is yours, win or lose.
Mm-hmm. And then,
And
that's in the next minute.
it is.
Yeah. I don't. Does she even say that? I guess she does say that in this minute, right? That's
Yes.
like the very last part of the minute is her saying it.
I have win or lose, and then my little note says end on cliffhanger. What is
Win or
then
lose?
what?
What happens? I think we do have a straight up just boob grab though.
Yes, we
And
do.
I'll say it right now. Ja Rule's not out there reaching. He's not being weird and gross about it. She does it for him. So I believe that indicates consent, which is sexy. Consent is
Yes.
sexy.
Absolutely.
So that's I think what we get here. But yeah, exactly what you said. The cliffhanger. Who is this person? Is this Monica? Because I don't think the name is set.
It's not yet, but you know,
So
we know.
So that leads me to think about going back to the scene where Dom says Monica. Do we see her? I don't think we do.
If you're to connect from him greeting the two people about yoga and hey Monica, and then it's Letty being mad that he is hugging on those girls, not just talking, I would think one of them is Monica, but
Right.
it's not that woman.
Right, exactly.
Is
That's
that a
why
goof?
I have no idea. I don't know. I'm looking through these minutes and I don't think I have this. I don't think I have that part. Where he actually says, oh, okay, so here, I kind of do. He says it about here, right? Yeah. I don't think she's here. So where does Monica come from? I don't know, man. I'm freaking out. I don't know where Monica comes from. How does Edwin, is he actually being a dude that just forgets people's names and he just yells a random name? He's like,
I guess that's also a possibility because I guess, oh man, that's great. It's such an interesting way to think about this thing. Like maybe this is his just like scream to the heavens thing. Like instead of, oh shit, he screams Monica.
Maybe she's hip hop witch and she cursed him. And he's like, Monica.
I'm sorry, do you mean the hip hop witch?
Sorry, my bad. The hip hop witch. Maybe
Get the
that's
branding
Monica.
correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know. I think we can theorize about this for a long time. I think we can get very philosophical. I think Edwin might be the messiah of our day. Who knows? He may be the hip hop witch himself. All I know is we are getting into the thick of it. We are 17 minutes into this movie, and we are about to start our very first race of any sort, whatever it might be. This is our last episode of not having any guests.
It's true. I mean, looking like we've got one scheduled next week, so
that doesn't mean we're going to have a ton more guests every time. That just means it's our last one without a guest.
I keep throwing out invites to people. If they want to come on, they're always welcome. Open door policy. I forget who all I've invited. The person from the chat, you can't come next week because we got someone lined up, but one day.
Yeah, absolutely. If there are some mega fans or people who have things to talk about it, reach out. I obviously cannot guarantee anything. But if I know you or we have some mutuals, I'd love to chat. I'd love to chat about this. And if not, I'm happy chatting with just Dan and Daniel all day long. That's fine with me too. With that being said, we are at the end of this minute. And if you have not been watching live, if you've been watching in all the recordings, we do stream this live at twitch.tv/Danotage, Danotage. You can find us every Tuesday or Wednesday at 5:30. However, I think next week is guaranteed to be at on Tuesday at 5:30. Because for those who don't know, it's Katie's birthday on Wednesday. Hey! So that'll be fun. I told her she's got like a busy day at work, but I told her we'd maybe go to a nice French restaurant and she can get some French fries.
Ooh la la.
She really likes French fries, and we like this French restaurant. Maybe we'll get this French restaurant. I don't know. Yeah, some frites. I swear that sounds like I'm gonna take her out and just buy her French fries, and that's her birthday dinner. I swear that's not what's happening. But find us Tuesday at 5:30 over on twitch.tv/Danotage. If you're watching this on the video platform at youtube.com/Danotage, leave a comment or a like or whatever it might be. And then, follow us and subscribe on one of your favorite podcasting apps, as we are 60 Second Car, just 60 Second Car. You can also email us at 60secondcar@gmail.com. I've been Dan, aka Danotage, guest host, or not, co-host as always by Daniel, aka Overcord. You can find us on all things. Make sure you go shout outs to Far Beyond Metal. And with that, we'll see you all next time. Anybody who's high is gonna freak out listening to that.
You're running through a forest. You're running through a forest. Trees everywhere. Stop! I remember that was something we did in high school when people were high, and sometimes people would fall over. I don't know if it was real or not. It seemed extreme for a reaction to being high. You go like this, you go like this, you go like that, and people react like they're actually getting hit.
As long as you remind them that they're breathing. Remember, you're breathing right now, and that's how you freak them out. Anyway, goodbye.